Hello everyone, I'm Scare Titan here, and today I'm going to be going over a redux of the rank for Shantae's roster. So, any of you who have seen my video from more than 3 years ago, I did a roster rank of the series. Today I am going to be doing a remake of it. Now, some of the characters on this list are going to end up being on a different spot, some of them better and some of them are worse. After looking back at my old tier list, it's not quite as well constructed as I thought that I was going to have it, especially since with some of the characters that probably deserve a little bit more appreciation or a little bit more animosity, I would say, for some of them anyways. I will go ahead and see. Okay, so these are all the characters I've ranked from more than 3 years ago. Back around, I believe it was maybe... I'm just double checking to make sure when I have uploaded. That was around December 18th of 2021 when I did the roster list. So what's going to happen is that I will go ahead and hide these for right now. I'll bring these up again from time to time, whenever I needed to. But here is another list of stuff that I'm going to be showcasing. This is completely unscripted, by the way. I don't have anything completely prepared or fully edited or whatever. It's really just kind of going through the list, and I did a previous version of it last time, but it just was not as well orchestrated as I thought it was going to. So I will go ahead and get started. I could probably go ahead and go from the top to bottom. So you're probably already gonna tell where this is gonna go, considering my recent video on Sky. Also, I do want to say this real quick. I forgot to mention this. So each of the ranks, I decided to just rename them to the Blood's difficulty system, where Extra Crispy is the highest, Well Done is the second highest, Lightly Broiled is middle, Pink on the Inside the second lowest, and Still Kicking is the bottom. So for the bottom tier, it could be probably some character that might be good or decent that just ended up being wasted later down the lines, and probably will be so unless if the writing team of Wait For It does anything to remedy the problems that said character had. So for example, Sky right here is going to be going into the bottom tier list. Part of the reason why that's the case is because there's been a lot of problems that I've had with Sky, mainly in Pirate's Curse and especially Seven Sirens to a greater extent. There was potential in the first two games, and even if she wasn't the best written character in the first game or even the second game, there was potential for this character, and I just think there was just a lot of, I don't know, it just really left a bad taste in my mouth with her in Seven Sirens. Completely useless. Yeah, I mean, it could change. It could very well change, and Risky Revolution, she could probably change up here over to maybe partially wasted or maybe even lightly broiled, assuming if Risky Revolution would have canonically been after the GBC game and before Risky's Revenge. I don't know. That really depends on where the writing team is going to go with this. I mean, then again, Shantae wasn't really specific on the time zone for, or not time zone, time frame for the game's Okay, sorry. I put that there by accident. I'm just playing some music while I'm going over this. But yeah, I just wish there was something better for Sky. It just felt wasted. Abner, I still stand by that he was a good character for what it's worth. Maybe just a little bit of a small side character. I do like the fact that he has a little bit more of a role in Pirate's Curse than what he had from Risky's Revenge. Not Abner. Ammo Baron. Great villain. And I still stand that he's probably one of the better villains in the Shantae series. He really did serve as a good antagonistic role in Pirate's Curse. And, I mean, even though Half Genie Hero's story wasn't exactly great, he was still fun to have around, I'll say. Anglerfish, I'd say she's probably in the lightly broiled, a serviceable boss for, if nothing else. Armor Baron. I have to say that he's going to have to go down here. The only reason why I would put him on the spot is because with Sky, there was more for her that could have been really done well, and it just got completely flabbergasted. But Armor Baron, he's a little bit less known than Sky herself, and he doesn't have as much going for it. He does have potential to being a decent villain. It's just, I don't know, there was just not really much to him that didn't really... the only thing that I'll say for him is that his design is interesting. Maybe, I mean, of course, he's the skinny version of Ammo Baron. And it has a different personality and all, but I just don't think there really isn't much that I can really resonate with him with. Let's see. I'd say Joe maybe... No, I'll say this. Joe is in a slightly higher spot than, let's say, with Armor Baron. I mean, clearly he was in the second game, Risky's Revenge, and then got carried over in Pirate's Curse. I mean, of course, that was a bit wasted, but he did have a little bit more going for it. I just think because we had a bit of a repeat in Seven Sirens, it's like, why are we repeating this again? I mean, is there anything new about it? Like, is it... I don't know. I just didn't really feel like that story needed to be in Seven Sirens. Bolo, I think he's a good side character. I mean, he's pretty much good for what he's worth, and he has helped serve... I mean, if this was just in Risky's Revenge, I'd say he might be just serviceable, but I think he's really done more for Pirate's Curse, and... You know, the fact that he has a bit more going for him in Half Genie Hero, that's something I can at least get behind. I'd say Coralfish. You know, I'll say this, at least with the case of Coral, she has a bit of an interesting design where all the other sirens just have a... I mean, all of them have fish details, but with Coral, I think the fact that she has a mech is pretty interesting, I will say. And it's a fun boss. I mean, a lot of the bosses in Seven Sirens are fairly easy. I mean, aside from Lily Water, who is surprisingly challenging for what it's worth. I'm going to play that song again. But yeah. Empress Siren. I don't know, she just didn't really resonate with me all that much. Here. I don't know, she just didn't really... Apart from the fact she was able to manipulate Risky Boots into doing her bidding, it's... I don't know. It just didn't really click. I think all of the Half Genies, save for Harmony, are probably going to be in the lightly brought. I know I know that's kind of jumping in for a little bit, but I'll go ahead and get these three out of the way just so that I can focus on the bigger stuff. I think Vera has a more interesting design than, let's say, with Zapple and Plank. But apart from that, I think they're all just serviceable. Harmony is probably the most plot-relevant Half Genie. She had a bit more going for her. Hexer is also a serviceable character, just more like a guard the gates kind of character. But apart from that, there's not really much I can say about him. Holly. I don't know. She was also wasted. And also really forgettable as well. Like, apart from the design, which, I mean, it's fine, but I don't know, it just didn't really click with me. and also the fact that she was supposed to be like this threatening villain who probably has quite a bit going on that just didn't go anywhere. And if you're just like, hey, who is this character? It's like, who is that again? No, she would have been Thanos snapped. Let's see. Hypno Baron's a pretty decent antagonist from Risky's Revenge. He had a little bit more of an appearance in Half Genie Hero. So on one hand, I think part of the reason why I think he is a little bit higher on the list is because of the fact that he has a little bit more plot relevant, or I would say a little bit more screen time in Half Genie Hero. But on the other hand, he was more intimidating in Risky's Revenge, for what I can say. Okay. Lobster Siren. Arguably probably the most plot relevant and useful out of all the sirens in Seven Sirens. And probably the only one that ended up being on the good side. I think out of all the sirens, she might have a little bit more potential in the storyline. But aside from that, she's just fine. Oh boy. Mayor Scuttlebutt. I really have to confess, I was too lenient with him. Part of the reason why I was too lenient with him is because, he didn't really know about what the whole thing was, and Shantae was hiding from the fact that she was a half genie. Which I guess he probably would have been serviceable, or maybe even unmemorable. But after looking back at Risky's Revenge, I was way too nice to the guy. No, he not only fired Shantae for what happened with Risky Boots, but he ended up selling the town to Armor Baron, which, make no mistake, I mean, Armor Baron was still a good villain, but that doesn't really change the fact that that this guy was a good mayor. Like, he doesn't even have an office, just a chair. And not helping is the fact that he pretty much ate all of the candy just so that he won't be able to refund it. It's like, what the hell are you even going on about it, my guy? Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. He's flat out detestable. Yeah. Superwarp, I think out of all of the sirens, she's the least memorable of. I mean, apart from the design, which is fine, it just didn't really click with me. And I even tried fighting her recently in my recent run with the game, and if I had just used the items just to attack her with, she is easier than most of the bosses. Let's see. Oh, we'll come back to that later. Mimic? He's a good side character. And he's also been pretty meaningful and has not lost much of his part in the series. So he's pretty much Mimic. He does a lot of experiments and takes care of Shantae. So that I can say for her. Not say for him. Go ahead. Here. Negative Shantae. Some people might say that she's probably one of the best in the series. I don't know if I would put her that high. She's just dark Shantae. Part of the reason why I may not be as much of a big fan as with Shantae or Risky is, well, Shantae and Risky is the anti-Shantae. And it's like Optimus Prime and Megatron. Like, I mean, yeah. Really the only plot relevant that I can say, at least, is the fact that she served as a corrupted copy of Shantae in Risky's Revenge. And she is a bit more plot relevant in Half Genie Hero, that I can at least give her that much. I just wish that it was a separate character instead of just being the same character as Shantae. That might just be me. Alright. I think Okmo-Ziko is probably going to be in the same boat as with those who are serviceable. Pirate Master, I think, is a really good villain in Pirate's Curse, and the fact that he's able to manipulate the entire scene in Pirate's Curse, I think he was a really intimidating villain, and he was surprisingly frightening in the storyline. Okay, so Poe, I think he'd probably be in the same spot as Abner. Risky, I don't think I think I probably gave her a little bit too much credit in this. She would have been a perfect villain. Like, if Seven Sirens had been written differently, or if the game came out, she would have been on the top tier. But, I don't know. I just think that Seven Sirens, for her at least, just didn't really left that great of an impression. I think that's all of the well done ranked. Right, tops. Top tier. I already explained a lot of what I've said with Roddy Tops. I still stand by that fact that she not only pretty much went through a redemption arc at this point, but has pretty much also been just an excellent side character all around. You could probably say she might have just been at least in the meaningful spot before Seven Sirens, or actually even before Half Genie Hero, because she did had a bit more going for her before well, she had more going for it in later games. Water Lily, I think she's probably going to be in the same spot as most of the characters on this. Make sure there's enough room for... I'm gonna go ahead and put this right. Just another serviceable boss. I'll probably go ahead and put Techno Baron over here. He was a decent villain, probably not quite as plot relevant as Ammo Baron, but he was still fine all around. I think it's also pretty funny too that he was capturing mermaids just so that he kind of goes on his whole corporate kind of thing he's going for. I think it had a little bit of potential going for it. I just don't know if he's really as great of a villain as Risky or Ammo Baron are. I'd say that both Twitch and Vinegar are probably going to be in the same spot as I think at least for these two, they were able to do something at the end of Pirate's Curse. Alright, so now we have Squid Baron and Shantae. I don't know, I think Squid Baron is fine. I just don't think that he was as interesting as I thought that he was going to be. Now, I can... I don't know. I think he was kind of more or less like this nerd kind of character where he wants to develop his own video game. I get it. I don't know. It just kind of got stale over time. Shantae. Didn't really give her as much as I really should have, but I mean, what can I say? She is a well-written protagonist in the series. And you can also tell just from how she grew from the first game all the way to Seven Sirens. I was more of a fan of anything that was before Half Genie Hero regarding to her character. She still has pretty much a lot of what she's got. Not really wasted, not really anything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have here for this top tier list. So let's go ahead and take a look at how it looks over here. So definitely some spots switched. There's definitely a little bit more down here than up here. Obviously because I was too lenient with Mayor Scuttlebutt, and he deserves every bit of shit that's going for him. Yeah, there was just a lot of problems with him. And beyond that, he deliberately just sat there and did nothing about the thing with the town. The only thing that he had going for it was bringing Shantae back into the town, only to then fire her again in Half Genie Hero. Like, isn't it the same thing as we had with Risky's Revenge, and he didn't even bother bringing Shantae back until the end? Or somewhere down the line? Yeah, I'm glad that he's not in Seven Sirens. But he's probably going to come back in Risky Revolution, so I wonder how that's going to turn out for him. So yeah, this is pretty much my updated tier list. Some of the characters, I don't know if I really explained enough as to why or where they're there. Some of them I did. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for now. So if you happen to have your choice of characters that get to be put in certain spots and where you think they are, maybe you might have your own tier list on Tier Maker. So that's pretty much all I've got. Take care. Have a good one.